list, and that's why I think if you start this discussion, and if you have this kind of discussion that was pointing out towards Pakistan, and with regard to terrorism and counterterrorism, I can say that we are ready. I mean, and we have done it so many times in the past, and we can hold out this mirror to our neighbor as to what has been their track record with regard to terrorism and human rights.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your press briefing. My name is Yu from Kyoto News, Japanese news agency. I have two questions. One is simple, to be more clear, about good office by Secretary General. So have you responded to Secretary General officially? And secondly, what do you think about the nuclear risk? And then, do you think Pakistan and India need nuclear disarmament? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for those two questions. On the first, I think I was pretty clear and I explained in detail. We welcome, and it's an unconditional offer and welcome to the Secretary General's offer of good offices. In fact, if you had a different question, you can clarify. Yeah.
Did you respond officially to the Secretary General? Did you answer to the Secretary General?
Yeah. In fact, I can tell you that we invited him to play that role. And even in my recent meeting with the SG, and this is what the Prime Minister also conveyed to the SG, that we accept and we welcome his role, and we have in fact suggested to him to visit the region. So that means we have officially accepted. We wanted to encourage him to play that role. So obviously we will accept. And on your other question, I deliberately did not mention that. Everyone knows that Kashmir is often termed as a nuclear flashpoint, but I believe that Pakistan is a responsible nuclear weapon state. I assume that India also exhibits that same kind of responsibility, and we should not contemplate a situation that would move in that direction.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for the briefing. This is Ahmed Ali speaking on behalf of Sphinx News TV. It has been alleged that prior to the attacks on the Indian-administered Kashmiri region, India has administered thousands of permits for the settling of Hindus into the region. Kashmiri residents have expressed public condemnation for this since the revocation of Article 370 in 2019. Does this somewhat recent development have any relevance to any pre-existing escalating tension between India and Pakistan prior to the attacks? Or to your knowledge, was there any progressive dialogue between both the Pakistani and Indian administration about this? Thank you.
Illegal and unilateral actions that India took on 5th of August 2019. And the primary purpose of those actions was to undermine the internationally recognized disputed status of Jammu and Kashmir, and eventually they showed through their other measures that they instituted that they were in fact going for this demographic change of demographic composition of the disputed territory, which in fact is in violation of the relevant Geneva Conventions. So this is something that they have been doing. There are credible reports of the Indian administration in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir of actually issuing certificates, domicile certificates to non-residents, which was never possible before the revocation of those the constitutional provisions. This is a serious action that not only violates the relevant Security Council resolutions, but it puts into jeopardy, because if you are altering the demographic composition of a territory whose final status is yet to be determined according to the UN resolutions by a referendum or a plebiscite under the UN auspices. So changing of this demographic composition is very, very serious. And so from that perspective, it's one of the many escalatory steps that India has taken since August 2019, and it is all contributing to the very precarious situation that is there on the Indian side of Kashmir. I mean, the Kashmiris are totally disgruntled. I mean, the India might do its all that it can to project that there is normalcy and things are back to normal, but that's not the case. Basically, it seems to us that they've totally alienated. So Kashmiris on the Indian side of Kashmir are totally alienated from this occupation, and so it seems to me that they've lost the Indians have lost